Let us know when we're on. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Sutra lecture on the Infinite Life Sutra. We'll begin with the Dharma request. 欢迎大家，今天晚上会研究《无量寿经》。我们先来请法，大家请合掌，可以请三宝来主持。有按上去吗？全部上去吗？没有。
没给经纬师哎。
你有上面有灯吗？你是要红的还是绿的？红的还是绿的？嗯，红的 ，OK。嗯。嗯。我看一下，这绿的。那个上面是绿的。It's the green one. 1 second, please. Mm.
恭敬大德圣经，为持法会及一切众生， 经转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐，殊证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of the assembly and all living beings, please attain the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live in suffering and then flesh and then birth and death, and quickly relent no birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo sadanto sochedoye.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye arahati samya sambuddhoche.
Namo sadanto suchedoye arahati samya sambuddhoche.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it, and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. So all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dharma Master, and all good and wise friends online and in person, Amitabha, welcome to the ninth Sutra lecture. We'll investigate Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land, how Amitabha Buddha created. You can say he's an architect, where he designed the Pure Land and then made it a reality. So he's also a contractor and built his Pure Land from his own cultivation. 所以今天我们会来研究《无量寿经》，是研究阿弥陀佛的极乐世界是什么一回事。也看阿弥陀佛可以说是一个，你可以说那个 architect 是什么？是设计家。
设计师，
设计师，工程也是工程师，他把这个极乐世界造出来，从他的修行，所以这个是个机会来学习阿弥陀佛怎么成了极乐世界。好，让我们先来念阿弥陀佛的圣号，因为如果我们要去那个参观那个极乐世界呢，我们需要念佛。So let's start with some Amitabha recitation. If we want to go and take a tour of the Pure Land, then our way in is to recite the Buddha's name. Namo Amido
可以了。我们阿弥陀佛诸佛菩萨、圣光上人，以及在座的法师，还有我们佛殿的佛友，还有我们线上的佛友，大家晚安，阿弥陀佛。
So, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dharma Master, and all good and wise friends online and present, Amitabha.
我们今天的经文是在72页的下面第4行，黄金使者抵白银沙，这个然后还有再加上74页的算中文74页的紫金使者然后在第2行4个字转共合成，所以就是这2行到72到74。那73呢是英文。
So reading the bottom of page 72 and 73, and then going to page 74 and 75.
好，我们大家合掌，我们一起念就这样子念中文，然后再念英文一遍。好。黄金使者抵白银沙，白银使者抵黄金沙，水晶使者抵琉璃沙，琉璃使者抵水晶沙，珊瑚使者抵琥珀沙，琥珀使者抵珊瑚沙，砗磲使者抵玛瑙沙，玛瑙使者抵砗磲沙，白玉使者抵紫金沙，紫金使者抵白玉沙，二宝、3宝乃至7宝转共合成。好，英文。
Page 73, start with golden ponds. Golden ponds have beds of silver sand. Silver ponds have beds of golden sand. Crystal ponds have beds of Vidurya sand. Vidurya ponds have beds of crystal sand. Coral ponds have beds of amber sand. Amber ponds have beds of coral sand. Grand clamshell ponds have beds of carnelian sand. Carnelian ponds have beds of grand clamshell sand. White jade ponds have beds of purple golden sand. Purple golden ponds have beds of white jade sand. Other ponds have sand beds of either 2, 3, or up to 7 treasures.
75页了。
对，75页，对。
好，所以呢，今天的所讲的就是这个莲池里面呢，这个水池里面，什么水池，然后用什么来做底子的，来做这个水池的底子的这个，所以它经文呢举了总共有10种的这个水池，然后10种的这个不同的这个做的沙的底子。
So now we're describing the lotus ponds in the Pure Land, and in these ponds you'll see that there's different, the beds, the bottom of the pond have different substances, different treasures, and so we're learning about them, and there's 10 of them in total that are listed.
Yeah, 所以呢，我们一的来把它再念来讲一遍。第一个就是黄金水池，它是用白银沙做底子的，所以这个黄金，然后用白银这样子就可以显出来。 不同的颜色了。
So we'll go over each one. So the golden ponds have beds of silver sand. You can imagine how they're different colors being expressed in the pond.
那第二个呢，就是说白银的这个水池里面呢，那用黄金沙来做底子。
So the other one is silver ponds have beds of golden sand.
那水晶池里面呢，用琉璃沙。这个琉璃呢，是不是我们这个世界上的这个琉璃啊、玻璃啊？我们是讲玻璃呀。
So these crystal ponds have beds of Iberia sand. So these substances, this crystal, is not kind of the crystal we normally think of it in our world. They're a kind of special crystal.
琉璃水池呢，它是用水晶沙。
So Iberia has ponds have beds of crystal sand.
那还有呢，珊瑚，它有珊瑚水池呢，用琥珀沙。
So coral ponds have beds of amber sand.
那琥珀水池里面有珊瑚沙。
So amber ponds have beds of coral sand.
那这个车具水池里面呢，有玛瑙沙。
So grand clamshell ponds have beds of carnelian sand.
玛瑙水池里面呢，有车具沙。
So carnelian ponds have beds of grand clamshell sand.
白玉水池里面呢，有紫金沙，所以这个就像这个白的、紫色的，所以这个都可以显出不同的。
So white jade ponds have beds of purple golden sand. So you're going to see this white and purple color contrast.
所以第四种呢，就是紫金水池里面呢，有白玉沙。
So the 10th pond that's being described here is purple golden ponds have beds of white jade sand.
虽然它这个经典上说只有两种，其实呢，它还有用2种以上啊、3种啊的宝啊，一直到7种宝，这样子来互相来共用、互相合成的。
So although here is just listed as one kind of treasure on the bottom of the pond, other ponds can have 2, 3, up to 7 different kinds of treasures.
所以呢，我们这样子来读这个经文，我们就了解今天晚上的经文就是在讲这个宝池里面的它的主体，还有它里面呢这都是可以说用7宝里面的来装饰极乐世界的庄严。
So here we can see that the focus is on using the various treasures to adorn the Pure Land.
所以呢，极乐世界的经文里面呢，它就阿弥陀经里面它就有讲到，极乐世界里面有7宝池，还有8功德水，都充满其中。这个是经文里面的。
So we see that in the Amitabha Sutra, it talks about how there's the ponds of 7 treasures with waters with 8 fine qualities. So we see that being described here.
我记得我们以前有讲过那个它的这个七宝树林啊，这样子。那现在就讲到7宝池、8功德水，所以这个我们今天晚上也来给我们大家来研究一下这个极乐世界的这个庄严。
So in the past we've talked about the trees that have 7 treasures. Tonight we'll talk about the ponds and investigate the adornments in the Pure Land.
那我们其实我们圣光上人呢，在这个阿弥陀经里面呢，它也有解释。那我想我们用圣光上人的这个讲话的解释的来跟大家分享。
So in the Amitabha Sutra, Master Hua gave a commentary on the these lotus pools and treasures. So I would like to share Master Hua's commentary.
所以呢，在《阿弥陀经》里面圣空上人的《阿弥陀经》解释里面有这样子像经文呢，他有讲到，又舍利佛啊，极乐国土有七宝池、八功德水充满其中呢。那这个池底存以金沙布地，刚才我们都讲了，用什么来沙子来铺在地上这样子。
So in the sutra text it says, moreover, Shariputra, in the Pure Land, there are 7 ponds of 7 treasures with water of 8 fine qualities, and all the beds have this golden sand beds, and they're surrounded by pavilions on the 4 sides made of all the various treasures of gold, silver, lapis lazuli, crystal. I think here we're translating as grand clam shells and carnelian.
所以呢，像这个经文里面呢，右手尼佛啊，他这个就是说他讲《阿弥陀经》的时候呢，舍利佛他是智慧第一，他没有办法来问这个阿弥陀佛的情况，所以他这个直接都是这个释迦牟尼佛来跟舍利佛讲话的。
So first, this is addressed to Venerable Shariputra in the shorter Amitabha Sutra. Venerable Shariputra is the first in wisdom, but he did not have the understanding to ask about Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land. So the Buddha Shakyamuni shared this teaching with him.
这个像这个经文啊，有舍利佛啊，极乐世界有七宝池。那这个呢，这个七宝池，那我们这个娑婆世界也有池，但是这个池子呢，这个水池里面呢，都是有泥巴、泥土或者是木材建造的，没有人用金银琉璃七宝来建造这个水池的。
So the Buddha speaks to Venerable Shariputra and says that this ponds have 7 treasures. So Master Hua gives a commentary that here in our Saha world, you do not see pools or ponds with the beds made of 7 treasures. Rather, they're mud, or maybe they're kind of debris from trees and various things. You know, the bottom of the pools in the Saha world aren't made from the 7 treasures.
他圣空上人还讲啊，即使呢你富有，好像欧那西斯啊，我们知道，欧那西斯好像已经往生了嘛。
那西斯不知道是谁。
欧那西斯有一个人叫欧那西斯，那时候蛮有名，就是很富翁啊，世界上的富翁。我不知道是不是已经往生了，可以查一下。你可以查一下欧那西斯。
欧那西斯，你知道是谁吗？听过吗？欧那西斯。
欧那西斯啊。
欧那西斯。
没有吗？有啦，欧那西斯。
So so there's a person that Master Hua references named Anna Shisi, who's I guess somebody who's extremely wealthy. Not sure if he's still alive.
我不知道有没有往生。
Although I don't think he's probably the most rich person now. Probably I don't know who's the most wealthy now.
他说这个俄那西斯那时候是很有名的富翁啊，他可以买很多的岛屿。
He can buy a lot of places. He's super wealthy.
但是就是不能够用七宝来把它做宝池的，建造这个池子的，没有了。
But he did not have the ability to make all these ponds of 7 treasures.
所以呢，他这样子的这个富有呢，跟极乐世界的这个呢，实在相差的太远了。
So although he's wealthy, if you compare his wealth to that of the Pure Land, it's you can say very, very far apart. He can't even compare.
这个七宝中呢，它第一就是金啊，金所以它的金都是排第一的。那金的梵语叫做什么？苏法拉。
Sufala. I don't think Sufala. I forgot what it is. Sanskrit for gold. I can find it. So of the 7 treasures, the gold is the first treasure. In Sanskrit, gold has a special meaning, and I can find it right now in Sanskrit.
它是翻译做金啊，金子的金。
Suvana in Pali, and in
Suvana.
Sanskrit, it's let's see. That's Suvana. All I have Suvana in Pali. 好。
那个还有阿巴路呢，翻作银。阿巴路就是。
So silver is in Pali at least is Rajata.
那这个琉璃呢，来翻译青色宝。
So lioli is lapis lazuli or Viduria.
那这个青色宝呢，又名不远，就是说很近的意思，不是很远，很近的。
Bu yuan. So also has another meaning that it's close. That is close.
很近的意思，因为产地呢跟摩羯提国很近。
Because the place where they found this particular kind of treasure was very close to the country.
然后呢，玻璃又叫做水玉，它是一种玉。
So the crystal is also called water jade.
然后这个玛瑙呢，也是梵名的名字，那翻为大剑。
So the mana, which I think is the grand clamshells here, they're also considered that great seeing, a great view.
它是宝物上的，在这个宝的这个上面呢，有一道一道的这个车机的纹路。
On top of it, you'll see wheels on the clamshells. Person's name, never heard of him before. The person's name who Jing Fosher just referenced, named Aristotle Onassis. He was born in 1906 and died in 1975. So 活了69年, 69 years old.
Yeah, 他是世界有名的富人。
So he's a very wealthy person. Yeah, he's a Greek shipping magnate who amassed the world's largest privately owned shipping fleet. He was one of the world's richest and most famous men. So he's a very, very rich person. 很有钱的一个位。
对呀。
对。
这个
Yeah.
先锋少年还知道他的。
Yeah.
好，我们再讲这个玛瑙呢，梵语叫做阿斯摩羯婆，阿斯摩羯婆，这个是梵语的，我不知道。
Mano is also called asuje. I need to figure out what that is, and another kind of name. Maybe it's another Sanskrit name for the Mano. 好，可以。可以，我要去找到。
可以吗？
我要找你可以继续，我再找。
好，我们再继续讲先空上人他在开示阿弥陀经有吗？没有。
Magarbha, Ashmagarbha is Ashmagarbha is Mano.
好。OK.
Carnelian, or agate.
这个 佛见舍利弗呢，他不懂得向佛请法，所以他又跟他说这个有极乐世界呢，有七宝池，那这个池子是天然，不是人造的，所以它又名七宝池。
So the Buddha told Venerable Shariputra that these pools are made of the 7 treasures, and they're not made by people. They're just naturally like this.
所以呢，这个池子里面呢，最重要有8公多水。我们其实上一次讲法也有稍微只有提过8公多水的名字。那这个今天呢，仙公上人有详细的来解释。
So these ponds also have 8 fine qualities. So Master Hua gives a detailed explanation of these 8 fine qualities.
第一个就是温凉，它就是说，温暖凉爽的意思。若人呢下了水池以后，想要热，它就会热；那要想希望凉一点，它就凉一点，是有这样子不可思议的功德。
So this water is both warm and cool, just as you wish. So someone goes into this pool, and if they wish to have the water warmer, the water is warmer. If they wish it to be cooler, then the water becomes cooler. The water is this wonderful.
Yeah. 第二个呢，就是非常洁净，因为我们人间的水呢，只有越来越肮脏。那这个极乐世界的七宝池里面呢，去洗澡呢，不但不会将水呢洗肮脏，而且越洗越干净，越柔软。
So in our samsara, in our saha world, when you go into the water gets dirtier. But not the case in the Pure Land. When you go into these pools and you want to take a bath, not only do these pools not get dirtier, in fact, they get even more clean, and the water becomes even more gentle and more smooth.
还有呢，这个水呢，好像是牛奶似的，然后又滑又舒服，所以呢，这个是一种也是一种赤诚，这个赤诚很微妙，再没有比这个微妙的感觉了。
So this water is also extremely kind of comfortable to the skin. It's like, you could say, almost like milk. You're drinking milk. It's silky and it's very, very comfortable. Nothing in this world can compare to it.
好，第三个那个就是甘美，那个水呢，不用喝，只要用来洗身洗心，也会觉得非常甘甜。
So it's also, you could say, sweet and refreshing. And so in this, you don't even have to drink the water. Rather, you just go and bathe in it, wash the body, clean the heart, and you feel kind of refreshed, this kind of sweet, refreshing feeling.
他还举了例子说他当时在香港的观音洞的时候呢，他洞的里面呢有一个甘美的泉水。
So Master Hua also shared that when he was in Hong Kong and was cultivating on his own in a cave, it was called Guanin Cave, there was a spring there, and the spring there had this kind of just kind of a taste of sweet dew, this kind of very sweet, refreshing flavor.
他说有一天呢，有一位弟子呢，在那边吃过面以后呢，他喝了一点点的这个泉水，他呢，这个是你中啊，他说非常惊奇的问我，是不是泉水加了糖呢？
So one day there was a disciple who came and had some noodles, who was visiting, and it was a woman, and afterwards she had a little bit of this water, and she asked the master, did we add sugar to this water?
那仙公上人讲说没有啊，那他这个女众问了，怎么会那么甜？他说这个就是观世音菩萨的甘露水给你喝的。
So she asked, so the answer was no, this water is not, no water added. It's only natural ingredients. and only purely organic and natural. And the woman said, how come this water is so sweet? And the Master Hua said, this is Guanyin Bodhisattva's sweet dew. You drink some of Guanyin Bodhisattva's sweet dew. Some also translates ambrosia, the nectar of the gods. Yeah, ambrosia.
他听了以后就非常的高兴的不得了。
So she heard this and was extremely delighted.
他说他把我的袍子呢破旧不堪呢，他就跟他做了2套的这个新袍子。
So she saw that my robes were completely old and kind of falling apart, and so she made 2 new robes for me.
那先空上人讲，这个就是他喝了这个甘露水的这个缘故。
So this is just Master Hua sharing his story about drinking this kind of sweet dew water.
第4种呢，就是轻软，轻非常轻，非常软，就是非常的光泽柔润这样子柔软啊，那个水呢不会重，而且非常的轻，非常的柔软。
So this water is also very light and gentle. It's not a water that you'll feel very, very heavy. It won't be very heavy on you.
第5个就是润泽，润就是非常的柔润啊，就是说还有光泽，就是非常摸起来非常舒服，然后看又非常有光泽。
So another one's smooth and radiant. So it's on the skin very smooth and makes it really radiant.
所以呢，肮脏的人呢，可以洗了以后非常干净。所以像你虽然是长得很黑的人呢，也可以变成很白的人。
So you can really clean your bodies if you're really dirty, and so let's say you have kind of a lot of dark and dirt. Then when you clean, you can become bright and clean.
所以洗完澡以后呢，身上呢都有一股光气。
And when you finish washing, your body has this kind of bright radiance.
好，第6个呢是安和，用这个水来洗浴，就是洗澡以后呢，身心都非常安详和气，没有一点脾气，也没有一点无明河，也没有烦恼。
So this water is also very peaceful and harmonious. So when you bathe in this water, your heart becomes very peaceful and very harmonious. No affliction in the heart at all.
所以呢，因为这个安和的这个缘故呢，所以即使有人骂你，你也不会发脾气；有人打你，你也觉得被打一下也没有什么关系。
So when you are in this water, and then later people yell at you or scold you or hit you, you don't feel it's any problem, no problem.
所以呢，跟水都是可以和平相处啊。他先空上人说：“爱啊，你看啊，这样子是多么好的。”
So he says you can be harmonious with everyone. So Master Hua says, see how wonderful this is?
然后第7个呢，就是持饥渴。人呢，假如用七宝池的这个8功德水来沐浴，不喝水也不觉得饿。
So here number 7 is that it is kind of quenches your thirst and also your hunger. And so it's very, people were able to drink a little of this water, then 喝这个什么还是洗澡？
就是里面呢，里面去洗澡，
so
你不
people,
喝水
yeah,
也不
okay,
觉
so
得饿。
people who bathe in this pool, they don't even have to drink any water or eat anything. They feel refreshed and full.
还有也不需要喝牛奶啊，或者吃面包呢，所以极乐世界是那么美妙。
So you don't have to drink milk or eat bread or any of these things. This is just how wonderful the Pure Land is.
好，第8个呢，就是长养诸根啦。这个用这个水呢，能够令人的诸根呢获得清净。
So then it also increases our kind of our roots, our kind of, maybe I'll say it's probably like good. 我们善根对不对？
诸根的清净，
诸根是属于三根吗？
对对，你的
还是我们的
根气，
6根？
6根都可以这样的。
So you could say maybe it helps our faculties become even more clear and developed, or perhaps you can also translate this as your good roots. So if by being in this water, your faculties become more pure, or you can say your good roots also become purified.
他讲啊，就是说这个盲者呢，就是眼睛看不到的，可以获得到光明。聋子呢，听不到的呢，他可以恢复听觉。
So this is your vision. So those who are blind, they can regain their sight. Those who are deaf can hear again.
还有鼻子不通气的呢，不知道香气呢，用这个水一洗呢，就通气了。
So those who can't smell, because their noses are obstructed, they just wash with this water and their noses become unobstructed and they can smell.
所以呢，就是什么样的这个疾病呢，都可以治疗的。
So whatever kinds of sicknesses or difficulties can be healed with this water.
所以呢，这个而且呢，这个水也可以令人家开胃口。
So it can help people have a better appetite.
Yeah， 手脚也可以办事情啊，不觉得疲劳。
So our bodies, hands and legs can do more work and not feel tired.
不但如此呢，还可以增长善根啊，消除恶业。
Not just that, it can increase our good roots and decrease our offenses and bad karma.
所以呢，圣光上人讲啊，你看啊，这个功德有多大，所以我们要赶快修行，早一点到极乐世界的七宝池里面呢去沐浴。
So Master Hua says, see how great the Pure Land is, see how wonderful it is. So all of us must quickly cultivate, and so that we can go there, so we can go see the 沐浴啊。沐浴什么意思？
沐浴就是洗澡了。
Oh, so we can go to the Pure Land and take a bath.
所以呢，因为你去那里呢，就可以增长善根嘛。所以以上是8功德水的大意啊。真正它是圣光上人讲啊，要细说呢，每一种功德呢，一大堆也说不完。
So we want to all go there and take a bath, and all if I were to try to explain all the different merits of the Pure Land, even if I spoke for an eon, a great eon, I couldn't finish speaking.
所以呢，这个经文里面有8功德水充满其中呢，所以这个8功德水有8种自在的功德，所以8种快乐的功德，还有8种微妙不可思议的功德。
So these 8 qualities have other ways of looking at it. So for instance, there's 8 kinds of self-mastery, or 自在, kind of complete ease, relaxed, completely at ease, and also has 8 kinds of happiness, a kind of a merit and virtue of happiness, and also a kind of subtle, a kind of very subtle and wonderful, inconceivable merit and virtue. So there's all these different kinds of merit and virtue.
所以呢，它这个8功德水池里面呢，这个水池里面呢都是充满着，那这个池底下呢都是金沙布地。
So in these pools, it's filled with this wonderful water, and on the bottom of each pool, there's golden sand.
所以呢，这个七宝池底下呢，都是用金子来铺地的。然后呢，所以人到了这个七宝池以后，无论什么业障呢，都可以消除。
So, so these pools all have golden sand on the bottom. So it doesn't matter who goes to the Pure Land to these pools, they their karma can all be eradicated, can be kind of exhausted.
像这个他说除这个业障呢，就是说什么是业障？就是说心里所不愿意的事情，或心生烦恼，这个都是业障。
Says what's affliction? What's the kind of karmic obstructions? Are the things that you don't want to do, or 无论什么业障。Oh,
什么是业障？
there.
就是心里
So what things that you are not willing to do, or the afflictions in your mind. These are all affliction. These are all karmic obstructions.
所以呢，你没有业障就没有烦恼了。
So you have no karmic obstructions, and you have no afflictions.
还有呢，我们在人间呢，我们铺坡油路啊，都以为是很好，但是在西方极乐世界，它都是用金子来铺路的，哇，用金子来铺路。
So in our world, if we 什么，就是
坡油啊，
柏油是那个 asphalt 啊。
哎呀。
Okay. So in our world, we think, oh, if we can, cover a road with asphalt, then it's pretty good. We think, wow, wonderful. But in the Pure Land, all the roads are made of gold. I can attest to that. When we first at Highway 9 had our roads there, and they're all
Highway 9
dirt and dust. When you drove on them, dust would go all over the place. Your car would get all dirty, and it was not easy. So at one point, it was a big project. We put asphalt on the place we drive, and so it becomes much smoother to drive in without all the dust. And so we thought, wonderful. So next time we can put gold, but we would need a very big donor to cover all the roads with gold.
所以呢，他讲呢，不只是金子啊，还有银啊、琉璃啊、玻璃呢等混合而成呢，五光十色，整条路都是非常光明的。
So he says, not just gold, but also silver, crystal, viduria, coral, amber, grand clam shells, and carnelian. All of these are mixed together and make the roads extremely radiant.
还有那个罗果啊，这个琼楼啊，这个也都是用金银琉璃、车体这个七宝来装饰的。
So you have pavilions and buildings and all these things, all made from the 7 treasures. So they're very beautiful.
为什么用这一些宝贝来庄严呢？又为什么那么多的宝贝来庄严道场呢？这个就是阿弥陀佛的他的这个万德所造成的。
So why are there so many jewels and treasures adorning the Pure Land? This is because of Amitabha Buddha's merit and virtue.
所以呢，他的功德圆满了，所以用七宝来庄严。
Because Amitabha Buddha's merit and virtue is full and complete, and so the Pure Land is, you can say, adorned in this way.
另外呢，我想再跟大家来讲一下，在这个《妙法莲华经》里面呢，第11品鉴宝塔中呢，仙公上人也有解释这个七宝对我们这个修行呢真正的意思。
So 我可以先讲个故事。
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell a story. I always found this to be a fun story that I remember the abbot told at CDTB one time. And so the story goes, a very rich man in this world, right? Maybe like this Aristotle, person who
那其实
who had a lot of money, or probably like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. I don't know who are the rich people in the world, but say somebody very, very rich, accumulating a lot of gold, and so he was, very attached to his wealth. So as time came, he had to pass away. Like I saw this Aristotle person passed away around in his late 60s. But he was really attached to his gold. So when, time came and the ghost of impermanence came to bring him away to his next life, he said, "No, can I keep some of my gold?" And he says, "Okay." And so he brought his gold, his bags full of gold, and he goes, and I guess maybe he has some good karma, so he ends up in front of heaven, the gates of heaven. And so he's got all his gold, he's at the front door, and he's coming in, and the gatekeeper looks at him and goes, "Why do you have so much stuff?" He said, "Oh, I got all my gold." And the person takes a look at it and says, "Oh, you just brought some dirt from our land." Because out in the heaven, everything is just gold on the ground. Or you can say maybe in the Pure Land, everything is just gold. 所以这个故事我觉得蛮有意思的，是说有一个叫富翁，可以当说很有钱的，他很多金子啊等等啊，但他就很执着他的金子，是他这个生命赚的这个钱，赚的这个金子，所以他要往生的时候，他就跟那个无常鬼嘛，无常鬼说，我要带我的金子一起走。无常鬼觉得好吧，我让你带，所以他就拿2个大袋子，对不对？都是金，他的金子都带了。可以说他可能他的还是有一些福报呢，他就去了那个天堂的门呢，就要进去。那个管门的看他说：“怎么带这么多东西来啊？平常人都没有东西来。”他说：“都是金子哦，很宝贝的，他要进来。”他看门的看一下，哇，你就把你就带一点土来，因为在天堂那个土都是金子，那就是跟极乐世界一样都是金子。所以从我们在这个世界上的这个宝贵的东西呢，在那边是非常普遍的，不是什么特别的东西。So I thought it's an interesting contrast that things that we take to be extremely precious in our world, that when you go to the heavens and maybe the Pure Land, these are just very ordinary, no big deal. I remember my grandfather, when he came to visit the monastery, he had this doubt. I wonder if Jing Foshi want to answer it. He would ask me, he says, Buddhists are supposed to live very simple. You don't have very many treasures. Why does the Pure Land have so many treasures? 我的爷爷他来我们万佛城的时候他看这个极乐世界，他看说你们出家，你们修行应该很简单啊，极乐世界怎么这么多那个宝贝，这么多金子等等。我说你都会跟他怎么回答？我跟我的爷爷回答，他说你们在修行应该很简单啊，没有这么多东西啊，没有执着啊，没有执着钱啊，怎么有这么宝贝在极乐世界？你怎么回答？
这个执着多或者少都是执着了，所以你去阿弥陀佛那里以后，什么东西都不执着了，因为那都是现成的，你因为你能够去到阿弥陀佛那里，然后这个表示说你有修行，你没有执着，你才会可以去的。你一执着也就去不了，就是就不能去了。所以这个执着来讲非常重要的。当然他们那个没有修行的人，他看到出家人非常少欲知足，什么东西都不执着。那极乐世界那么多东西，是不是你会有什么的想法？他当然他也会想，是不是其实 这个跟修行人啊，目前的修行人是不能并论的，这个不能
并论什么意思？
并论就一起来理论啦。
嗯
不能这样子来讲啦。因为你可以去到那里，就是不执着，你就没有什么东西了，就是跟你现在一样的，一少一知足这样子来修行。
So Jing Forsher's response is, if you have a lot of wealth or you have no wealth, but you're attached, it's the same thing. You can be attached to a lot or a little. And so in Amitabha Buddhist Pure Land, the ways that the ponds and the trees and all these things are just very natural. They're just part of the landscape. And those who go to Amitabha Buddhist Pure Land, you cultivate, so you don't have any attachment. This is very important. Those who are able to go to the Pure Land don't get attached. They're not attached to this wealth. They don't cling to these things. So those who are just maybe new to cultivation, they might see the monastics and we live very simple lives and we are content with little. We're frugal. And they see the Pure Land has so many things. But this, you can't actually apply the same principle because they don't see that in the Pure Land, these things are just very natural, and that those who are going to the Pure Land are not attached. They don't cling to these things. So that's the important point. So, very good point. So the key is the non-attachment. I always thought the Pure Land was very skillful to say this is so wonderful, the water is so wonderful, the sand is so wonderful. But when you go there, you actually are completely unattached, so you're happy with everything. 所以我觉得那个极乐世界是蛮巧妙的，因为说这个水啊这么微妙啊，跟这个地方这么庄严啊，但是你去那边是完全不执着的，所以你心是不管是什么已经很快乐了，所以你去已经是很快乐的一个情形。
所以你一执着就不能去了嘛，你一执着也不能在那里。
So if you attach, then you can't go, or you attach and you can't stay. And so I would also reflect is, if you can be completely unattached and you're in the water, then whatever temperature the water is perfect. 我是说你在水里面，如果你完全不执着，但你这个水不管是什么的温度都是最好的。Okay, so the other story Jing Forsher was going to share is from the Lotus Sutra, where he talks about the 7 treasures as well.
这个也是仙公上人的解释，这个
妙法莲华经，对不对？
对，妙法莲。
So this is from Master Hua's commentary of the Lotus Sutra, chapter number 11, about the jeweled stupa.
他这个最重要是解释，像第一个经，它的性呢是随缘不变，不变随缘，它是代表这个坚固的智慧。
So we want to talk about what does the 7 treasures symbolize in cultivation. So number 1 is gold. Gold is, you can say, accord with conditions but does not change. Does not change, it accord with conditions. It represents the
坚固的智慧。
It's the kind of firm wisdom. 坚固 is like solid. Wisdom that's very solid, durable. You can rely on it.
那这个第二个银呢，就是代表你非常洁白、非常清净的恨门，就是你修行非常清洁，这个你清净的。
So silver represents this kind of very pure, maybe you could say white, kind of brightness that is represents your pure practices.
第三个呢，琉璃呢，就是说表示呢莹澈的透明体，表示明了的这个智慧，你能够明了一切的这个法的这个智慧。
So lioli is, I think, Vidurya, or sometimes translated lapis lazuli. 是 what's this mean? 这个什么？
莹澈就是说你非常
看破啊。
彻底的，透明的，你能够了解
Okay.
明了这个一种智慧。
So there's an ability to really see through, to kind of have this penetrating wisdom, and yeah, this kind of very penetrating wisdom, Vidurya.
第四个呢，车技呢，它是有转动的这个相呢，表示你委屈心，你委屈呀，你非常委屈，那修道人要能够容忍的这个心，让能够谦让的心。
So 车具 I think here is coral. 车具 I think is coral, and it has this kind of turning quality to it, and this represents the 什么
委屈心呐，就是说你心里受委屈啦，
所以我做错事情啊？
不是啦，人家冤枉你了，你委屈了，人家说你不好啦，你也要忍受啦。
It's a very patient heart.
就是说要能够容忍啦。
Everything that people say that you can be patient and endure it. That's 委屈。I'm looking at 委屈。Sorry. Okay. 好，可以。
Yeah.
Transparent. 委屈 is transparent. A very transparent heart. Okay.
还有第五个呢，玛瑙呢，它是一种杂色，就是说很多的杂这个色在里面呢。它有红色、黄色、白色，就是因为有很多颜色呢，这个表示万恨的智慧。
Okay, so 委屈 means we can often feel wronged. It's kind of like this, I guess, we feel we kind of have something happens to us that we feel, you could say, quote unquote, wronged, but rather than getting angry, we're able to be patient and endure it. So this is the treasure of the coral, which has this kind of turning around it. The next one is
玛瑙。
那下个车具呢？车具在哪里？
车子在这里。
车具是刚刚的。
刚刚对，车子在转动嘛。
车具 might be the grand clamshells. 玛瑙 I think is the coral. I don't know my Chinese with the jewels. And this one is got many colors to it. And so you have the red, yellow, white, and all these different colors, and it represents the 10,000 practices and of wisdom. Wisdom that comes from 10,000 practices. So it's the adornment of the 10,000 virtues. Of all the different colors represents all the different, you could say, virtues.
第六
I get. Well, it's maybe it's amber. There's basically 7. The tricky things with the Buddhist treasures is that there's different lists and they're translated in different ways, and there's different ways that people have translated. So from the Sanskrit, it gets translated to Chinese in different ways in China in different orders, and then as it gets from Chinese to then English, there's also people who translate it in different ways. So we picked 7, which is gold, silver, crystal, Vidurya, coral, amber, and grand clamshells, and carnelian.
好，第六个呢是珍珠珍珠，它是圆明的，表示圆融无碍的智慧。
So here is say it's true pearls, and this means complete, full, and it represents this kind of full, complete, unobstructed wisdom.
然后呢，第7个玫瑰了，玫瑰其实这个是讲玉借意识了，它是认知性了，代表 温润的这个智慧呢？
So the next one is jade, and it represents a kind of a wunren, the kind of ability to accord, a kind of a smooth kind of wisdom, wunren, kind of gentle wisdom.
Yeah， 所以呢，这个就是算这个在《妙法莲华经》的这个见宝塔品先生上人的这个讲的这个解释七宝的意思，所以他这个名字跟佛陀可能都有一点点
不同，
不同的。
对，刚刚是有点不同啊，对不对？ So you can see the list that Jing Forsher just read from the Lotus Sutra was different than the list in the Chinese of what we just read from the Amitabha Sutra. It's a little difference, but you could say more or less the same. So you can see in translation as it goes from, culture to culture. It's an interesting kind of project because each person is trying to understand what is it that's being referred to, and so they translate it in different ways. 所以从很有意思的是，你去观察的时候，那个梵文翻译成中文，这个七宝，有时候会翻译成不同的七宝。然后这个七宝呢，我们又翻译成英文的时候，又有人翻译到不同的英文，所以就变成你真正找到这个七宝的是真的是什么东西，是要去研究的。Yeah.
好。因为我们这个BBM 还有CCTV 就刚举行这个打坐禅期嘛，
禅21，
对，3个礼拜结束了，所以呢，今天也是来跟大家来分享我们禅宗的一个开悟的故事。
So since we just had a Chan session both at Berkeley Monastery and the 16,000 Buddhas, I wanted to share a story on Chan.
这个呢，这个故事是在唐朝，这个一个很有名的这个香艳禅师的一个故事。
So this story comes from the Tang Dynasty, and the Dharma master's name is
香艳。
Incense adornment, Dharma master incense adornment, Xiang Yan, Dharma master Xiang Yan.
这个算一个公案呐。这个呢，这个香艳禅师呢，他出家的时候呢，他是在尾山，尾山就是我眼中的这个尾山禅师那里出家。
So Dharma master Xiang Yan left home at Weisan, Mount Wei. This is where the Wei Yang lineage, you could say, began. Master Hua is actually one of the lineage holders. And so the master who started the lineage is considered Wei, Chan Master Wei. And so Mount Wei. So he left home with this master. So 跟那个尾山老人出家的。So he left home under this great teacher. We call him Mount Wei.
然后呢，他这个尾山禅师呢，他看这个人很有法器的这个，然后要激发他的这个智慧呢，所以有一天呢，就跟他说呢，我不问你怎么样子呢的生平啊，你的这个学问啊，还有经典上的这个怎样子的，但是呢，我只有问你，你还没有出家的时候，是怎么样子？你可不可以告诉我？你还没有出胎啦，不是出家。
出胎。
对。
So
出胎的时候
Chan Master Wei Shan saw that Dharma Master Xiang Yan had a lot of potential. He had a lot of good roots. And so one day he came to Dharma Master Xiang Yan and said, I'm not interested in your background, your education, what sutras you studied. I just have one question for you. before you were born.
那时候的情况
Can you tell me what it was
Yeah.
like before you were born?
也，这样子呢，他一听这句话呢，他忽然间没有办法来应对他还没有出生的时候的情况，他无言以对，然后呢，就很久以后都也是百思不解，都没有办法答复他这个问题。
So Dharma Master Shangyin heard this question but didn't know how to answer. And he spent a lot of time reflecting on it, but he couldn't answer the question. Okay.
然后呢，这个他后来他没有办法，他就说，请和尚呢，你帮我来解答。
So finally he couldn't come up with an answer, so he asked Chan Master Wei San, saying, "Please, Master, could you please explain this to me?"
这个伟山跟他说呢，我说的是我的见解，然后你跟你目前呢眼前的事情有什么帮助？所以呢就没有跟他说，因为他说他的见解，所以他不跟他说，他就走就回堂，就没有跟他来讲话的。
So this Dharma Master Shangyin asked Chan Master Wei San, "Can you please explain for me?" And Chan Master Wei San said, "My answer has nothing to do with you. How will that help you out?" And so he just left him. And
所以呢，因为他变成说他没有办法来回答这些的题目呢，根本他像他以前的读的书啊，这个那么多经典啊，都是画饼不能够充饥，就是说你这个都是不实在的，好像你画很多饼都不能吃的。
so he couldn't come up with an answer to this question. All the books he studied, the sutras he's read, none of it helped. It's like drawing a lot of pictures of Bing, which would be English would be
从你的汉鬼
yeah. I'm just thinking what would it be Bing in English? It's like these round
K
cake. Okay, yeah. You draw a lot of cakes, but you can't eat any of them.
所以呢，他就把所有的一些文字啊，他以前的这个方面啊，都全部把它烧了。
So then he took all his books and learnings and writings and things and just burned it all.
所以呢，而且他还说出来说，我不再学佛法了，然后呢，他要做一个这个米饭蒸啊，就是做一个他要出去行走的这个真人啊，
圣人啊，
去行走去
行走的圣人。
真人。
对。So he said, I don't want to. 就是他还是出家人，还是要传书？意思是
他出家人，他还是
对，他去外面去行。Oh yeah. So he
行走
said, I don't want to study the Buddha Dharma anymore. I'm going to go out into the world and
他不
go
打
on
坐就
tudong.
对了，他不。
I'm not going to meditate. I'm just going to go out into the world and go on tudong in the Theravada, or you could say they go on this you go just walking around, wandering as a monk.
所以呢，他就到了出去以后呢，哭着出去，然后去到一个地方呢，就是叫做凤阳，然后一个慧中国师，就是说唐朝的一个国师，叫做慧中国师那里。
他哭了。
慧中国师。
你说他哭了离开啊？
Yeah.
So he said he's crying as he left, and he went to a place, another place in Fengyang, with National Master Huizong.
其实慧中那时候也是已经往生了嘛，他 所以他去到那里，他就说他希望在那里住下来几天这样子。
So when he got there, he said he wanted to stay there for a few days.
所以呢，但是他在那里有一天呢，因为他住在那里，在山中里面呢，在山就是他那个道场里面呢，然后就除草了，然后除草的时候呢，这个一个瓦片呢，就打到一个瓦片就打到这个竹子，咔一声这样子。
One day he was in the monastery and working, and he was weeding, 就除草。
除草。
然后这个瓦片掉下来啊。
不，就是除到一个瓦片。hit 到瓦片就打到这个竹子。
So when he was weeding, I guess he was probably using some tool, and he hit a tile, and this tile flew out and hit a bamboo, and 打破那个竹子。
打到竹子，就
a clack boom. I guess a click or a clack onto the bamboo.
然后他这一声一打到这个声以后呢，他忽然间笑出来了，因为他就被这个声呢就算开悟了，把他开悟了。
So when this tile hit this bamboo, all of a sudden he laughed, because at this moment he woke up.
所以呢，他就回去了，回去洗澡，然后烧香，然后来跪下来礼拜这个尾山禅师。
So he went back to the Chan master Wei San, and he bowed and lit some incense and paid his respect to Great Master Wei San.
所以呢，他就赞叹说这个和尚大悲呢，好像我的父母亲一样呢。假如说当时你跟我说呢，就不会有今天的事情。就是假设说当天他跟他说了这个他问的事情，他就不会一直离开，不会有今天的事情。
So he's told Chan Master Wei San, you're just as caring, your great compassion is like that of a parent, like a mother and father. If the day I asked about this question and you responded, then I would not have today's awakening.
所以呢，他自己就做了一个寄送呢，来表示他的这个诚意啦。
So he now wrote a verse to express his gratitude.
他说依己忘所知而不假修之，就是说刚才这个侄子被打一下击中呢，他忘掉所有的他所知道的事情，就是忽然间他已经了解了，所以这个不假修之，不必要来假借什么来修行之道。
So he says one tile was able to break through all of my knowledge. I kind of just, when the tile hit the bamboo, all his knowledge and thinking just was ended. Our Buddha, and I don't need to now cultivate kind of illusory practices and understanding.
后面寄送就是动容扬骨露，不堕消然机就是说，不必要他现在呢，他就是说来发扬这个骨露就是修行的这个古人的这个道路呢，他不会来不堕呢就是说不会堕落在这个这个机制，这个是一个残疾
什么残疾什么意思？
残疾就是说不会堕落这个
一个禅宗的一个境界，不会做境界。
算境界也可以了，就是不必要。
Now he can truly teach the ancient road. This ancient road is probably the ancient road for awakening, and he will not fall into the kind of various states, kind of states that you can get trapped in.
处处无踪迹呢，色声妄为矣。就是其实呢，到处都是没有修行的踪迹啊，就是他的踪迹啦。色声妄为矣，就是说也没有什么色的声音啊，什么位移啊，这些都没有。
So everywhere, 怎么说？
处处无踪迹啦，就是
everywhere without any traces, no kind of, not even a residue of attachment, and everything let go of sights, forms, sounds, and even these ideas of deportment, completely let go of.
然后呢，就是诸方达道者，就是说你能够了解。达到真理，先言上机，这个是最好的一个算一个机缘啦。
So if you can truly go and realize the Tao, somebody who truly realizes the Tao in all directions, then one can go to then Sangsan really kind of step onto the superior place. Oh, really? Could you, Mike, would be easier if maybe if you were to send me an email with it. Yeah, then I can read it on the phone.
好，这个是一个公案啊，就是香严禅师的一个公案。另外，我想对于修行呢，我们知道我们娑婆世界三界呢，就是说都是没有办法安静，那都是像火灾一样呢，在这个我们的这个算莲池大师呢，他的一个故事。这个算是我们莲池大师是第8位祖师啊，禅宗的净宗的净土宗的，然后呢，这个是也是仙公上人讲的故事。
Okay, so this is a verse translated. One of our listeners translated this. It says, "Forgetting all that is known in a single blow, no longer grasping at false practices, casting off the old path in a fit of emotion." Huh, that's interesting. In a fit of emotion? In a fit of emotion? Okay. So as to not fall into the pattern of quietude. 就是他说把那个骨路动容，动容是什么意思？
动容就是说你不动心啊，你不动心动你的面容啊。
阳骨路
就是去花园。骨路就是修行的。
Okay, so maybe it's slightly different here. It says, not moving. One teaches the ancient path. And not following it into, you could say, habitual kind of a dull emptiness or dull kind of quietude. Not a trace left anywhere, splendor beyond sounds and forms. Of all methods for attaining the way, this instant surpasses all words. It's very nice, the sense of basically the Chan school is a kind of a direct experience, not caught up in words and language, representations. So 这个禅宗是直接开悟，不靠这个语言，这个不怎么不依赖语言来开悟。可以说还是用语言来找个方向，但是最后完全放下。Okay, so there's another story here, maybe our final one today, about the 3 realms. So we usually think of the 3 realms as a place that's constantly in turmoil. It's like a fire that's burning. So the story is about Great Master Lian Shi.
OK， 莲池大师呢，他是出家了，但是他还是呢，他回去看他太太，然后这个看太太呢，不只是一次，还有很多次。
So Great Master Lian Shi, he left home, but then he still went home and saw his wife. And he didn't go just one time, he went quite a few times. I think I know where the story is going to go.
那他太太也是非常聪明的人，一想到自己的这个莲池大师丈夫呢，他出家了，还一直跑回来，都不修行，这样子还是放不下这个情爱。
So the wife is also very intelligent, and his Great Master Lian Shi came back and thought, oh, he's already left home, and he keeps coming back, and so he's not really cultivating and can't put down his attachment, his kind of affection.
像有几个他在美国他就不能回家了。
So some of our laymen here, they come across the ocean from China to California, so they can't go home.
所以呢，这样子他一直跑回家不是办法，所以他就在这个他进门的地方呢，来挖一个洞，挖一个坑啊，然后上面呢再摆上一个席子给他看不到，然后底下呢再放一些火再烧这样子。
So she said, this is not a good thing that he keeps coming home. So what she does is, at the front door, she dug a hole, and she covered it up, so you couldn't see, and then on the bottom of the hole, she put all this fire.
所以呢，莲池大师呢，刚好又回来了。
So Great Master Lian Shi came back.
他一踏进去呢，就掉到这个火坑里面。他说：“哎呀，你这个是怎么搞的？弄一个火坑啊！”
So Great Master Lian Shi came back, and he walked near the front door, and he fell into this hole with a fire on the bottom. And he said, "What in the world? Why there's a burning fire pit right in front of my house?"
然后他太太说：“你知道是火坑，你为什么还回来啊？”
The wife said to him, "You know this is a fire pit. Why do you keep coming home?"
所以呢，这一句话呢，就给他开悟了，所以他以后就不再回来了。
So Great Master Lian Shi, upon hearing this, woke up, and so he didn't go home anymore.
所以呢，这个就是仙公上人所他讲的故事呢，这个就是三界无安呢，就是说我们三界也就是一界、色界、无色界呢，这个都是不是安乐的地方。
So this is Master Hua's story about how our triple realm is not a place that's very pleasant.
就好像火灾一样，
Just like a fiery pit,
yeah,
a pit of fire.
yeah， 所以这个就是一个给我们修行人的一个故事了，就是我们真的是要放下一切，不要执着。
So we need to put everything down and not attach. So you can compare. So our samsara is like a pit of fire, but in the Pure Land, all the lotus pools are beautiful with water that's just the right temperature. But the key is that you can't be attached. So that's the doorway.
Yeah， 这个就是我们还是最重要，要多念佛，能够往生，希望极乐世界去那里。
So 所以我是说，我们在娑婆世界就像火坑一样，在极乐世界有这个莲池，有八功德水跟七宝，所以很大的差别。但是重点是不执着。The Jing Fo Shi says, and what's important is we need to all recite the Buddha's name more so that we can all go to the Pure Land. Yeah.
Okay， 好，我们的时间也差不多。
So our time is up. 你要跟大家，我们有念佛的法会吗？
好。
So we have an announcement that we will have an Amitabha session for 3 days to celebrate the New Year, the Chinese New Year, on February 5th, 6th, and 7th.
就是我们有佛山法会过完年的那个礼拜六5号，就是2月5号，然后5号是礼拜六、礼拜天、礼拜一3天，然后我们有八关斋戒，就是第一天礼拜六，然后可以写牌位，大家可以写牌位，所以然后我们念佛3天，希望大家把握机会，过年的时候大家一起来念佛。
So we get an opportunity to recite together for 3 days after the Lunar New Year during the first week, you could say. 5th, 6th, and 7th, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll transmit the 8 precepts on the Saturday, and we'll also have paiways. If people want to put paiways for those they care about, you can register, but it's not up yet. We'll put it on our website shortly. Okay. Also, we have a Great Compassion Mantra Dedication of Merit this Sunday at 6:30, like usual. So people can join in if you have time and you have been reciting the Great Compassion Mantra for the well-being of this world.
Sunday.
这个 Sunday, 对，这个星期天，但是我们在红木禅林，我们在红木禅林做。
在禅林几点呢
？6点半。
6点半。
对。
早上。
Yeah. So we'll do the Great Compassion Mantra Dedication of Merit this Sunday at 6:30 a.m. It'll be broadcasted from home, Redwood Vihara, because we're going to be down there to continue our cultivation and work. 有什么想法吗？
没有，那礼拜六呢？礼拜六在这里。
就是我们就是一般的修行。So Saturday, maybe I could say this Saturday we'll also be reciting the Buddha's name, but we probably won't be transmitting at 12 o'clock because we're going to have a special program down at Rodvihara, and then we'll be broadcasting the Amitabha recitation at 2 o'clock from Rodvihara. That's our plan. So people can join us, and you can recite from the forest in Rodvihara the Buddha's name. 好。Okay, 那我们回向功德吧。So now we'll dedicate the merit. So we can dedicate the merit so that all beings can go to the Pure Land. And you can say, be free of suffering, can bathe in very peaceful conditions, and purify their hearts and minds as well. 我们可以回向功德到极乐世界，我们可以在这些莲池里面洗澡，清净我们的心。May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Okay, so that concludes our evening lecture. Hope you can join us next week Otherwise, wish you a week of joy and happiness. Amitabha.
好，阿弥陀佛，祝大家平安、吉祥、快乐。